In this video, we will show you how to replace your washer fluid reservoir on this Acura MDX. This will be partially inside of your engine compartment, but also accessed through your passenger side wheel well. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Locate your washer fluid reservoir. Along the top side of the reservoir, you're going to find that you have your coolant hose making its way over to the coolant reservoir. We just need to dislodge it from the washer fluid reservoir. Just a quick inspection of that. We can leave it here. Continuing on the opposite side, you're going to find that you have one 10mm headed mounting bolt holding the reservoir to the body of the vehicle here. We can remove that. A quick inspection of the mounting hardware as we continue. Now we can pause on that washer fluid reservoir, and we're going to move along to this plastic panel. The plastic panel is held in place with 8 plastic push clips. To remove your push clips, you can use a small prying device. I'm using a trim tool. Start by removing the center to unlock it. That should dislodge the outer portion. Pull it out of place, a quick inspection, and we'll move along. We have all the push pins out of there. Let's take hold of this and we'll pull it out and away from the vehicle. We can give it a quick inspection, set it aside. At this point, we'll pause up here, safely raise and support the front of the vehicle so we can make our way underneath. After raising the vehicle, we're going to remove the wheel by removing all 5 of our 22mm lug nuts, and we can get this off of here. With the wheel out of the way, we're going to start dislodging the inside fender liner. We don't have to fully remove it, but we do have to dislodge the front, and we'll pull it aside so we can gain access. The fender liner itself is going to be held in place with several push clips and a couple Phillips head screws. To remove your push clips, you can use pretty much anything as a small prying device. I'm going to use a trim tool. For this, typically on most push clips, you'd want to carefully start dislodging the center of it. Once you have that pulled down, it should unlock the outer portion, and you can remove the entire thing. A quick inspection to make sure it is still reusable, replace it as necessary. At this point, let's make our way down under this area. You're going to find that you have a couple more push clips making their way across. There's one right here. Same process. Go ahead and pop out the center to unlock it. Now we're going to make our way towards the front area here. Now we're going to find that we have a Phillips head screw. Just remove this. Continuing on, we've got another push clip. We get that one out of there. Now we'll just move to the top center. This will be the last one that we have to remove. Let's grab onto the fender liner. We'll give it a little wiggle and start pulling it straight rearward, in and behind the brakes. If you need to, you could use a bungee cord or something to hold this in this position. Now we can make our way right up in the corner here. You're going to find a Phillips head screw holding the bumper cover to your front fender. Let's take hold of this, give it a little tug. With the fender liner out of the way, let's start having a look along the back side of the fog lamp assembly. You're going to find that you have 2 wiring harnesses and 2 bulbs. We'll take hold of the wiring harness, squeeze on the locking tab, pull it out of place, a quick inspection for corrosion. See the locking tab right there on that one. That looks good. Repeat the process for this one. Locking tabs down on the bottom for this. Now we can pause on this side of the vehicle. We're going to go over to the other side of the vehicle, repeat the process, including removing the wheel. Okay. We've got both of those disconnected. Now we're going to make our way underneath the front bumper cover. You're going to find that you have 5 push clips to remove here. Now we can make our way back up into the engine compartment. In the engine compartment, we're paying attention along the top of the front grille and bumper cover here. We're going to have a push clip and a 10mm head bolt on each side that we have to remove. At this point, we're going to start removing the bumper cover from the vehicle. You're going to have to tug along each side of the bumper cover to separate it. Just have to pull it out from along the bottom of the headlamp assembly here. It's just got a couple small clips. Remove the bumper cover from the vehicle. With the bumper cover out of the way, you have a clear view of the washer fluid tank. You can see each of the 2 pieces of mounting hardware. They're 10mm. We're not going to remove those yet. Before we do so, let's make our way back inside the passenger side wheel well so we can disconnect 2 electrical connectors. Back here, you can see one of the electrical connectors. We're just going to press on the locking tab. We'll disconnect that, a quick inspection for corrosion. Continuing on, we have the next one. This one's pretty much going to go straight up. Push on that tab. Slide it off of there. Now that we have both of those disconnected, the next thing we're going to do is start removing this area here. It does still have washer fluid hoses that lead to it. To remove this from its rubber grommet, we're just going to carefully pry it out of place. For this, I'm just going to continue on with my trim tool, but you can use pretty much anything as a prying device. Just be extremely careful not to cause any damage. We have our collection receptacle under here, of course, so we can recycle that fluid as necessary. We'll let this drain into the collection receptacle and then we can remove it. Okay, that looks good enough. You can take hold of this, we'll pull it right out of place. Once you have it out of there, you can go ahead and remove the rubber gasket as well. Our brand new washer fluid reservoir comes with a new one. We'll just go ahead and pry that right out of place. We'll set that aside. Now that we have that one out of there, we have to pause before removing this one because the body of the vehicle is going to be in the way. Let's go ahead and start removing our passenger side front headlamp. To dislodge the headlamp assembly, we're going to remove the bracket and the headlamp assembly at the same time. You're going to find that you have several 10mm headed bolts. We'll start on the one out here next to the fender. Make our way all the way to the inboard side. You're going to find 2 10mm headed bolts. Let's move our way back up towards the top of the headlamp. Inside the engine compartment, we have a 10mm headed bolt in the corner. Move our way outward. On the far corner here, we have another push clip. Take hold of the headlamp assembly. We're going to start pulling it away from the vehicle. Keep in mind, there's several wiring harnesses along the backside. We do not need to disconnect them. We're just going to take the headlamp assembly and rest it up inside the engine compartment out of our way. You can see that wiring harness. Now we can start removing the washer tank. We have two 10mm headed mounting bolts. There's one up here and one located down along the bottom. Let's start with this one. We'll take hold of the tank, give it a little wiggle here. We can start pulling it out and away. Now we can remove this. To remove it, go ahead and take hold of it and carefully pry it out of place. There's our level sensor, and there's our tank. Let's get ready to install our brand new washer fluid reservoir. We'll start with the level sensor. Ensure that you had removed the gasket from the level sensor, and your brand new one is in the reservoir. We'll take this and carefully press it into position. If you had to, you could use a tiny bit of silicone paste or petroleum jelly to help it slide into place. As we're pressing it in, we want to confirm that we have the connector facing out and towards what would be the rear of the vehicle, where we have our port here. We're just going to keep pressing this in until it's completely bottomed out and secured to the reservoir. There we are. Just give this a little twist. Confirm it's properly seated, give it a little wiggle. Let's install this in the vehicle. To do this, we're going to have to come up and through here with the neck of the washer fluid tank. You may find that the AC line blocks your way. We'll just go ahead and press that out of the way as needed. Make sure this hose is on the right side. Down in this area, we're just going to gently flex things if we need to here. There we are. Let's align our mounting bolt ports, start them in, snug them up. Let's get this hardware in here. Just going to start them in by hand. Once they're started, you can snug them up. Let's get this headlight in place. There's going to be a couple small locating tabs on the headlamp assembly itself. Those will fit into the ports on the fender. As we bring this in, we're trying to align those areas and each of our mounting bolt holes. Should slide right in there nice and easy. After aligning the headlight into the proper position, we'll start with our push clip along the top far corner. Press in the outer portion, lock it in with the center. Moving along, we have one of our four 10mm headed bolts that will hold this in place. We're going to start in each of the bolts before tightening any of them. Let's make our way straight down underneath the headlight from here. We have our two ports for two mounting bolts under this area. And then we'll make our way all the way over to the far side along the bottom of the headlight bracket. We have another port for the 10mm bolt. They're all started in, now we'll snug them up. I got one more on the far side there. Let's make sure that's snug. Now it's time for the washer fluid pump inside the wheel well area. We're going to make sure that we had removed the gasket from it, just in case it came off of the original reservoir. Let's start sliding this into place. We want to press it all the way in. Give it a little wiggle here. You can see that it's completely bottomed out. I'm giving it a light tug. Just want to ensure that it will not fall out. Continuing from there, you want to make sure that none of your hoses are crimped like you can see right here. If it looks like there's an issue, you can just go ahead and pivot this as needed. At this point, I have no crimps, so we're just going to have that facing towards the passenger side. Reconnect your electrical connector. Press it in, listen for a click. A light tug to ensure it's properly secured. Now it's time for the electrical connector for our level sensor. Press it in. Once again, we have a click, a light tug. Secure the hose, assuming it came out of the wiring harness mounting point here. Just press it right in there. One last confirmation to make sure that the hoses are not crimped in any way. Now it's time to install the bumper cover. We're going to bring it up. We'll try to align this. We can start in some push clips across the top once we have it temporarily aligned. Now on each side of the bumper cover, you should have an area for a 10mm headed mounting bolt. There's one on each side, same positioning. We'll start them in and snug them up. Now we're going to make sure the bumper cover is aligned with the bottom of the headlamp and the fender itself, and we'll lightly tap it into place. We have one side in there. Let's go ahead and do the same to the other, and then we can make our way into the wheel well. In the fender well, we're going to start by reconnecting our fog lamp connectors to each one of the bulbs that are located in this area. Looking at the connectors themselves, you're going to find that you have a blue connector and a black connector. The blue connector will lead to the inboard side bulb, and the black one is for the outboard side. Let's grab this blue one. I got a little click from that. Get this one on here. Just double check both of those. Now continuing on the same side, let's reinstall our small Phillips head screw into the corner here, holding the bumper cover to the fender. We'll start resecuring the fender liner as well. Just goes right up in here. Keep in mind, you are only screwing into plastic. We don't want to strip it out. You just want to make sure it's properly secured and it cannot move around or fall off. Let's get this fender liner in place now. We're going to align it with the fender, but as far as the bumper cover, it actually needs to go in and behind the bumper cover here, so we're just going to go ahead and press it right behind there. Now, once you feel as though you have it in the proper positioning, we're going to continue on with some push clips. The push clips will hold this in place. Push clip in there, lock it in. Make our way up to the top center. Get this one in here. Make our way down here. In this area, we had our Phillips head screw. Let's go ahead and start that in and snug it up. Now let's just double check. We're making sure that this is secure. There is a little bit more hardware we will have to do down along the bottom of this. But before we make our way under the vehicle, let's go over to the other side of the vehicle and repeat this entire process, including reconnecting the lights on the back side of the fog lamps. The other side's done. Now we're back over here. We're looking along the bottom. We're going to start resecuring this using push pins. Connect that together. We'll make our way in here. We're just going to have to try to align these holes, going through 2 panels into the metal. Same for this one. Make your way down the line. Get this one in here. Let's get this one in here. Try to get this aligned. We've got that one. We'll make our way back inside the driver's side wheel well here. We're going to secure these panels together. Let's get our upper panel in place. Once you have it in place, you're going to have several push clips to reinstall. There's 8 of them. We'll start from one side. For the push clips, you know what to do. We're going to put in the outer portion first, lock it in with the center. Continue down the line. Double check, make sure it's secured. Let's get the wheels back in place. Once you have both your front wheels in place, you want to go ahead and snug up those lug nuts. We'll bottom them out, get the vehicle safely back on the ground, and we'll torque each of these lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds. Both wheels are in place, we're on the ground. We'll be torquing each of our lug nuts in a crisscross manner. Torqued. Repeat the process on the other side of the vehicle. Let's make our way to the top of the washer tank here. We can open the cap and add your washer fluid. Once you have it topped off to the maximum line, go ahead and test the functionality. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.